I'm going to try and answer some questions. It's open classroom. I'm going to go through a list of questions here. If you do have any questions, make sure to add them in the chat, and I'll make sure that we're streaming here live as well. But make sure that you answer any of them. If you're watching after the fact, don't be afraid to put them in the comments. And of course, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to visit teachonline.io and take some of the free courses that we have available for people who want to start, build, and grow their education business. So that's what the plan is. That's what we're going to do. And again, these are ad hoc. There's nothing that's completely scripted on these ones. I'm basically going from questions on my screen or questions that I've received from some of the members and answering them. And again, if someone else does come on, we'll go and spend a little bit of time as well doing that. I'm just going to make sure we got a live feed there. There we go. That's done. That's working. Everything seems to be set up. We're all good, and we'll go from there. Now, interesting thing is on these sessions, as we started to do them, I've been spending a lot more time kind of figuring out all of the technology that's involved in teaching online, because it can be overwhelming. You don't have to use all of it, but from the people that I've talked to and find myself, it's like there's always different ways you want to express yourself, or there's different things on the screen, or different things in your head, or different ideas and different ways of expressing them. And if you have a suite or a set of tools that makes that easier, it's one of the things that people obviously love to run into. So that technology, or the adding of technology, is kind of a blessing and a curse, because it gives you a lot of additional opportunities, but it can cause additional problems as well and get quite confusing and overwhelming if you're not overly comfortable with it. And the best part is that you don't necessarily have to use it. It is an option. And in my case, what I've been doing is growing into the suite of tools that I'm using specifically on YouTube. And the reason is because I'm using a Mac now. And for the last 30 years or 40 years, however long it's been, I've been using a PC, recently started using a Mac. So there's a whole different suite of tools and different ways of things work that has started to kind of creep into this whole idea of technology. So we've been adding some additional pieces. I've been learning how to use some additional pieces that work differently than the ones I had before. So that's why these sessions are particularly ad hoc right now. And there's kind of a suite of tools that I have here that are available. I'll just show them to you, because one of the questions I get asked all the time is, what are the different tools that you use when you're teaching online? If you're going to create an online course, how are you or what are you using to share the ideas that you have in the online environment? Because when you're doing stuff online, it's quite a bit different than if you're live in front of someone, where you have a lot more of the physical movement and your expressions and other props that are available to you to kind of share the ideas. So these are the pieces that I have currently set up. I'll show them to you one by one, and then what we'll do is I'll explain what they are and where they came from. So the very first thing, obviously, is I have a webcam that's here. There's 1,000 different choices for cameras. The ones that I've tried was a standard webcam. I tried that. I tried a Canon M200, I think it was, or an M50, which is, which is a real camera. I've also used a phone. Had a phone connected to the top of the screen. Used a phone for camera, and the ones that I have now is actually called an Insta360. And it is a webcam, but it's a special kind of webcam. And again, I've included the links to the resources below for these ones, but it does some really neat things specifically for teachers. And I'll share those with you right now, and why they're kind of important. Is one of them that I have with this one now is it will actually follow me as I move around. So it can be actually set up to follow me as I move around. So this is great is if you're actually standing. I'm sitting at a desk right now, but if I was standing up, it can actually follow me as I move around the room or wherever the space that I'm in. And that happens automatically. The other thing that it does, which I don't have turned on right now, is it will automatically focus. And you can have a headshot focus, a waist up focus or a body focus. And why that's important is because not only can I move to the left and to the right if I want to, it also allows me, I don't have it turned on, so I can move backwards and forwards. And what it does is it will actually keep either my head only or my upper body or my entire body in focus, irrespective of where I am in the space. So if you have to teach things or you have to share things that involve a lot more movement than just something on the screen or your headshot talking into the camera, it's a real powerful tool. The other thing for instructors, which is really sharp with this, is you can actually set it up to focus on a whiteboard or a blackboard behind you. So a whiteboard, blackboard, a writing board. If you have a board behind you, we can have it so it focuses exclusively on the board. That allows you to move around, but also keep the focus of what you're writing on the board while you're writing it. So real powerful tool in that respect. Two neat things as well, and I don't have them turned on here, is we can actually have the camera look directly down right in front of the monitor or in the desk area in front of you. So there's a whole bunch of flexibility there with that particular camera. And again, I put the links below for you to check it out. That's the one that I'm using with the camera here. So that's the first piece. I got a camera. Majority of people that are going to be doing any teaching online are going to have a camera, which is great. So that's kind of the first piece that's there. The second piece, and I'm just going to turn this on now, is let me just go and I'm going to do, I have the ability in this case, I have the ability on this one to actually show my screen. So right now I'm showing a page that's here. If I want to minimize that, and let's go take a look at the Chrome browser. And if I'm looking at Chrome and I change the Chrome browser, I can go and take a look at different screens here, and it will actually open up the different pages or tabs on my browser and show me those as well. So again, this is a live feed of my browser. So this allows me to obviously show my screen, whatever's on my screen, in this case, the browser. And you'll also notice down in the right-hand side, you also see my heads there. Now, why is that? Because I have the ability to do a picture-in-picture. So no picture of me, now a picture of me. No picture of me, now a picture of me. So this, I have not only the screen and the camera, I have the ability to mix those two pieces together. So that's the one that you'll find most people will use, is they'll have some kind of screen that they're showing from their desktop computer, and or a live headshot or body shot or some kind of shot of them moving around the room. In many cases, that's all that they really have are those kinds of pieces. Now, there's a couple additional ones that I've added, and I'll show you one here. This is just, I'll hold this one up. Actually, I'll show this one just as a, there we go. So this one's kind of neat, because what it allows me to do in this case is I can actually go and write on the screen, and it obviously shows up on the screen for you. So I have this one. I've just got an iPad. And again, this is fully, this is an Apple iPad. And this particular tool is called a video pencil. And I'll include the links on these ones as well. So I've got a video pencil. So this not only allows me to do my headshot, but I can also write directly on a screen. So this is similar to a whiteboard in many respects, but it's writing on a screen, not on a whiteboard behind me. This other tool, this video pencil, also allows me to write directly on the screen that I'm sharing as well. I don't have it set up in this session, but again, I've got ink, a tablet, whatever you want to call it. I've got the ability to just use my trusty iPad here, and video, or just this is a pencil, iPencil from Apple, and a tool called Video Pencil, which is a small app for the iPad. So those are some of the tools that are there. The other one that I will show you now is the screen that I've got set up, and we'll get to this overarching one here, is I do have a tool that allows me not only to, I was showing the browser earlier, right? So let me just pick the browser here, make sure I got my mouse there. So there's the Video Pencil, there's the browser. Now the other one I have is, what happens if I don't want to show a browser like Chrome or Edge, or just show what's on my web browser? What if I want to show an actual app on my computer? So I can also do that as well. In this case, as an example, I have Xmind, and Xmind is my mind mapping software. So I'm showing that whatever's in my Xmind application, that's actually showing up now. I have a headshot that's there, but you can see that as I use that application, it's going to show all of the whatever's happening in that particular app. So if I make changes on that app, you can see it's happening live on the screen. This is exactly what's happening in the app. So I now have got an app, a browser, a headshot, Video Pencil. These are all available to me as a suite of tools for communicating what it is that I'm teaching. So having said that, how does this all come together? We can do a whole session, which I probably will at some point, a number of the tools. The one that I'm using right now to do this and all that. You know what, I haven't done this part before. I'll just show you the browser of how this one particular one works. But this one is called Ecamm Live. So this is a tool for Mac only, but it is originally started as a live webcast tool, but I'm also using it with all of these pieces of communication layers to actually create my video courses now. And that's part of the reason that I went to this. So this is a Mac only tool. It allows me to collect all of these and to put them into courses and or live webcasts like that. So here's the point of this. There is 1,000 different ways to put these together. The idea, in my opinion, is you've got to get yourself in a position where you can put together the information that you need when you need it in the type that is best to communicate what it is you're trying to teach. So you're going to have a whole bunch of different pieces of putting the content together, and you know, find the one that works best for you, that gives you the most flexibility. The one thing that I will suggest is, if you're going to do this, is in as much as it's great to think about teaching online previously was all about recording either lessons and or events that you were doing and creating courses from it. The one thing I want you to think about is, if you are going to be creating courses, is you should also now, I think, spend a lot of time creating about, how am I going to do this live in addition to the courses? How am I going to do live online teaching and be able to record it for content available for people after, if they don't do the live session? So it's live and recorded. The best suite of tools would probably be the best one to use there. So let's see if we have any questions. No questions, that's fine. So we're going along with these tools. And again, I put the tools listed below. They'll be listed below after. I do have, actually, if you go to, I'll show it to you right now. We'll go to Chrome here. And in the short term, if you actually go to the resources menu here on the Teach Online site, you'll see there's one called Recommended Tools. And if you just scroll down through that, you'll see that we've got all the tools that we use here. And the ones it's probably important for this is, there it is. There's the Insta360. That's the one for the camera. That's kind of the important one that I would like you to focus on. I haven't, these are affiliate links, by the way. That's why they're on the resources one. I'll put any additional ones I've mentioned in those as well. And the thing is, the other thing, just when you're thinking about this, is, and as much as I would like to say that there's a one way of doing it. There's not. So for example, we used Melon for a long time, which is a broad live streaming service that also records. You may have heard of one called StreamYard, which is another one. I think there's one called Riverside now as well. They all do similar things to Ecamm Live, but it's a hosted service. There's Canva, and Snappa does similar to Canva. It's a service that creates graphics for your social media and content. So, there's different ones that are available. We have accounts and or are using multiple of these. So there's lots of different ones available to you. You're going to have to figure out the suite of tools that works best for you. So when it comes to creating content, we've got it set up here so that we can do live and recorded, and we can record any of the live sessions that we're doing, double end it. And the one that I want you to think about is, how am I going to do it so that I have the most flexibility in the types of content, whether it be visual, auditory, or physical gestures that you're using, or physical things that you're able to show visually. So just try and have as many options. My suggestion, have as many options available as possible. That makes it easier and actually more fun. And the thing that's really hard when you start doing these sessions, teaching online, is it's very, very hard to get into the habit of being super animated visually and physically, even though you're online looking into a camera. And I'm changing, tonality, speed, texture of your voice, all the way you're moving around. Gestures, animations, all of that stuff can really help keep people interested in the live sessions, but also in the recorded session. So there we go. One of the questions I have here is, what would be the equivalent of these tools for an Android computer? That's a great question. So here we go. I'll do a setup that I used in the past for an Android phone, and you cannot use Ecamm Live. You can't use that. The best way probably to start is, if you want to use something like Ecamm Live, there's a tool called OBS, which is a piece of software you install on your machine, and it does the broadcasting out to places. In this case, I'm doing YouTube, but it does the broadcasting out. That is the one you may hear. I don't recommend it, and the only reason being, as I'm mentioning it, it's kind of was the de facto standard for doing live webcasts. It's really complex and it's overwhelming. So if you're into the technical part, definitely go get it. It's free. My suggestion is, if you are going to record live sessions and want to create courses out of them, is to use something like StreamYard or Melon app. So I'll just open those ones up for you just to give you an idea. StreamYard is a kind of a popular one. A lot of the top YouTubers, for example, use that, and that is a hosted service that allows you to do live webcasts to a bunch of, there we go. So to multi-streaming is what they call it. So it allows you to actually send out to LinkedIn, send out to YouTube, send out to Facebook, actually from a live event. It also allows you to record it. So that gives you some flexibility in terms of, I'm going to do a live one, but I've now got a video and separate audios that I can use to repurpose. This is a service that you're going to actually be in front of a camera on your PC or your Mac, and it's going to be using the browser with StreamYard. You're going to be logged in using the StreamYard tool, and that will allow you basically to do that live webcast and record it. And in fact, you don't even have to do a live webcast anymore. You can record it directly to StreamYard and have it as a course, and then use editing after the fact. So that's kind of the tool that I would use to start if you are going to do live webcasts as well as record, is to use something like StreamYard. And again, I'll put the link in behind in the comments below. If you don't have a StreamYard account, you can certainly use our affiliate link and use the tool through there. Pretty straightforward, easy to use, and there's a lot of flexibility in it in terms of the layout. So when I showed you, for example, where we had a screen, a headshot, only a headshot, multiple guests, inviting guests. StreamYard and tools like Melon App and Riverside are set up for that so that you can have multiple guests and actually have a presentation that allows you to switch back and forth between a screenshot and or a picture-in-picture or just a headshot. So some flexibility there, but not the amount of flexibility, for example, that I showed you with Ecamm Live. Not that much flexibility. So that's one that I would recommend. What I don't recommend for creating courses and online courses is Zoom. So that's something that if you want to record, you certainly can on a Zoom call and do a live Zoom call, but it doesn't afford the flexibility, in my opinion, that allows you to create a structured course or a structured recording that would allow you to convert it into a course. The other thing that, and again, I believe that I'm correct, but if I'm not, you can certainly correct me. Zoom recordings tend to be joined. So all of the different audios, all of the different videos, there is a solid video that includes all the audios, and some of the audios are separated. So what that means is you don't have as much flexibility. If you do have an open session where you are interviewing people or having people ask questions, for example, it puts you in a position where you can't use that, or you don't have as much flexibility using the content. So I suggest using StreamYard, something along those lines. And again, if you're just starting out, you can use a webcam with this. You know, if you have a Logitech webcam or any of the particular webcams, obviously try and get an HD webcam or a 4K webcam if you can, and just use a webcam. The other thing you can certainly do is you can use your regular phone. So in this case, as an example, I've just got an Android phone, and if you want to, there is a number of plugins that allow you to basically hook up your phone and have it as the camera. And I'll show you one here, and I'll see if I can get it. Again, this is out of memory. There is a utility right here, and it's called EOS Webcam Utility. And this one's from Canon, and I believe it works with most of them. But what it allows you to do is it's a piece of software you put on your PC. It's a piece of software that's on your phone. And if you have your phone on a tripod in front of you, for example, and you have it mounted on the top of your monitor, you're going to be able to use the live webcam that you have and have that, or pardon me, the live iPhone, or pardon me, phone, Android phone that you have, you can use that as the camera in StreamYard, for example, or Melon App, or OBS. So any of the Android devices or PC stuff that you're using, you can use EOS camera and an Android phone, and that will work perfectly. There's a couple benefits, again, with using your phone as well. Obviously, you can record the video in the tool, but you can also record the video on your camera. You also have some flexibility with the formats, right? So if you want to do the 9:16, or for shorts, you can record those. If you're going to do the portrait or the landscape, you can do that with the phone and set it up just by the way that you're mounting it. Again, so there's a lot of flexibility, and the cameras are great there. So if you already have a camera, a phone that's available, does have a good camera in it, you don't have a webcam, I would just go and get the EOS camera plugin for your phone, the app for your phone, and install it on your desktop PC, and it'll actually connect them up. Pretty straightforward. And again, you're live and connected with the camera, and in fact even a microphone if you want. Now, you can use a microphone on your phone if you're close in a pretty good space, but if you have to, I use let me see if I can hold this up. Yeah, this is Yeti. This is from Blue, I guess it is, Yeti. If you get a pretty good quality mic, you can certainly use that in addition and/or instead of your phone microphone. And one of the things that I just ran into, and part of the reason I actually changed to using a Mac, was that the PC that I had, I would have my Yeti microphone that was here I was using, and I was using a camera, but I wasn't using the microphone from the camera. And in some of the tools that I was using for whatever reason on the PCs is the audio would get out of sync with my mouth moving. So it was kind of confusing, or gets you unfocused if the mouth is moving and the audio is out of sync with it. It was just a pain in the butt having to mix or match things up after the fact. So what I did is I said, well, let's go take a look at the Mac and see how that works. And I haven't had any problems with that 99.99% of the time. So, and the other thing for me personally was that when I was looking at if I get a brand new PC to get rid of the issues with the syncing of the audio and video, how much money do I have to spend for that, as opposed to how much money do I have to spend for moving over to a Mac? And it was actually considerably less getting a Mac Mini and a MacBook Air than it was on getting a high-end PC to be able to make sure that I would be able to capture the video correctly. So that's why I personally moved over. So you're going to have a camera, you're going to have some kind of app, which is one of those ones that I mentioned, and you're going to have a microphone. And again, if you can, spend a little bit of time picking out the microphone and playing around with it. And the other thing I will talk about, and I'll just do it briefly because depending on how or what you're watching this on, one of the things that you notice is my face is quite red. And this is something that I'm personally struggling with in terms of filming, is I have something called rosacea, which is a reddening of the face, and I have a lot of trouble doing lighting. So one of the things that I'm still learning how to do properly is pick the right lighting. And I'll show you the ones that, I think it's here, yeah. I think this one, yeah, okay. So you're gonna have to get some lighting. And this is the lighting that I use. There's a whole bunch of them if you Amazon. I'll put the links to the ones that I do, but I use ones from Newer, and I use a couple of different tools. I'll show you the ones that I use. Let me see. Which ones we have here. There we go. So these ones are LED lights, and I have some pretty inexpensive ones. I got a kit just like these ones here, and you can see what they are. For example, the 660 bicolor. These ones are ones that I use. I have two of them. One is on each corner. So I've got a key light and a fill light. So I've got these two different lights in two different places, and I use that to light the room. And I have another piece, never miss a sale. Let's go later. The other one that I have is, I think this one is, the other one I have is some smart lamps, for example, which if you see them behind me, they'll see there's some white lights there. Those are kind of glow lights we have set up. So this is the stuff that I'm playing with. If you want to get kind of serious with it and you are going to be doing a lot of headshots, you're going to find that getting the lighting right and consistently is something that takes some time. And once you find something that works with a background that works, you can certainly get into a system of creating content quite quickly. I often get asked about green screen. Sometimes people say, do I have to have a green screen? And if you're not familiar with a green screen, it is just that. It's a screen that is a kind of a lime green. And the reason people use it is because if you put that green screen behind you, you can use some of the video editing tools that are available and for live webcasts. And what it does is it allows you to put any picture that you want in behind you, and you show up, but every area that's green is replaced by some photo or some image that you put in. And again, this is a very powerful tool. Take a little bit of technical knowledge to kind of get a hang of, but once you do, you can do some really neat things with it. Do you have to use a green screen? No, absolutely not. Do you have to have a great background? No, absolutely not. Are these things you'll want to do after time? Yeah, there's something obviously you want to work into as you get going with this. So hopefully that helps. Whether you do a Mac or you do a PC, whether you do an iPhone or an Android device, just kind of get the set of tools that you want that allow you to communicate the way that you need. But all I'm going to suggest is to keep in the back of your mind is, how can I capture this so that I'm in a position that everything that I capture, now listen to what I'm saying, how am I going to be in a position that everything that I capture can be converted into a short, a lesson, a module, a complete course, a tutorial? How can I repurpose it for YouTube? How can I use what I get for content to be used in my education business? And I've talked about this before, and I'll just kind of touch on one other piece of the puzzle here, is that if you are going to be serious about repurposing content, my suggestion is to go and open up a Descript account. I'll show that one to you briefly here, and we'll go to Descript. And again, this is an inexpensive tool, and what it allows you to do is to upload those videos that you have and or audios that you've captured, and it allows you to basically do a transcription of it, even do some edits with it in terms of removing parts of the text. It will edit the video for you, but even more importantly, you can overdub and replace parts of the text, and it will actually replace the video with the text that you've put in. So there's some really cool tools that are available to you there on Descript that are their purpose is to clean up and allow you to convert one form of content into a bunch of other forms of content that can be used, specifically podcasts. So that's the other piece to this, is to think about, okay, I've got my courses, I'm going to create some podcasts in addition to blog posts, in addition to courses. So we got a whole suite of products. And again, it's just from capturing stuff with your phone, with your desktop, with your microphone, just by sharing your content there. So hopefully that helps out. Now, how much, holy mackerel, 34 minutes already. So what I wanted to do is I had a couple questions that I put together, and I'm going to go through them. I'll show you where they come from first, and then I'll pick a couple of them. I'll look at them and say, hey, is this something that would be a good answer? And we'll see if with you know, what I need to do there. And actually, I put the title of this one as, you know, what do I need to sell courses with WordPress? The first thing, obviously, is you're going to need some courses. The other thing that I'll do right now, and actually I'll do it before the questions, is there is a suite of tools in WordPress that allow you to create campuses, learning campuses, education businesses, but there are a couple of plugins on WordPress that allow you to sell courses. And I'll go through and do those quickly with you just so that you can see which ones there are. The one that I recommended that we use is called LearnDash. And this is you'll see the term plugin LMS, or an LMS plugin. And LMS is a learning management system or learning management software. I don't know which is the actual one, but that's what people talk about as a learning management LMS. They kind of use a shortener. LearnDash is the one that is the more popular one on WordPress right now, and that allows you to basically manage courses, lessons, and topics, and quizzes, assignments on your WordPress site. So if you're going to sell on WordPress, you're definitely going to have some kind of learning management system or LMS plugin, or a plugin that allows you to sort of organize courses. Now, here's the part that is kind of the difference between a membership plugin. For example, there's one called MemberPress, which is a great membership plugin and MemberPress allows you to add courses. It's got what it calls courses as part of the membership plugin. And one of the things just that I kind of think of is, if you are going to be serious about courses and keeping people responsible for the learning that they're doing and the information that you are making available to them, if you're going to be doing it, there's a number of additional kind of pieces that you really got to think about with an LMS. And here's the ones that I want you to keep in the back of your mind. An LMS will always have some form of accountability in the form of quizzes or assignments. And in LearnDash, I believe they have 9 different quiz types. One of them includes a physical assignment. so that you can assign a instructor or moderator, actually course author, who is someone that has added the course content, but also has the ability to say, look, you can't take this lesson, you can't take this module until you've passed a quiz, for example, or you've handed in an assignment. So an LMS really gives some additional accountability that you may not find in another plugin that says, yes, we do courses, because they just say, look, we've got lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, and you have to take them in order. That is really just stripped content in the name of a course. Courses, in my opinion, is when you have an additional accountability, something like quizzes to start off with. The second thing you'll find in an LMS that's quite a bit different than just courses in a membership plugin is you will actually have either structured content, so that the lessons or courses have to be taken in order before they can be consumed. They can be timed. They can be based on marks or completion of quizzes, but you have some real control, again, of how people actually learn the content and what they learn during the portion. You can also have set up in an LMS where courses have prerequisites. So you have to complete a course with a certain mark before you can go on to the next course. Again, if it's just a membership plugin, they often don't have those particular options available to them. The other thing is multiple instructors. You may have a situation where your campus, or the place where you're trying to teach your content on your WordPress site, you just want to have a moderator or someone who's a course instructor who isn't part of the website, but you want them to be able to answer or support the people who are taking their particular course. And just their course, not all of the courses, but just their course. So things like an LMS will allow you to assign instructors to individual courses. So LearnDash is really good at that. Again, I just went over the surface of it. There's a couple other ones, and I'll do quickly. The other one that is kind of popular that we've used on a regular basis is one called Lifter, lms.com. And again, this is a WordPress plugin specifically. Again, it's just for WordPress. And this one is, let me just make sure we go to the right place here. I'll open the screen so you can see that one. So this one is Lifter. And the one for Lifter here, again, works similar, very, very similar in the respect to LearnDash. What it handles differently is the way that it takes payments. So that's one that you can certainly take a look at. And on this one, I'll just actually go through, there's a couple things that it does a little bit different. So I'll just show you the one on this one. Again, setup similar. There we go. So on these ones, this one a little bit different is the way that they're set up by default is the way that you take courses in terms of the payments. They have a built-in payment system, whereas LearnDash has a separate or a less built-in payment system. You can set up a number of different packages in Lifter that aren't necessarily available in LearnDash, and the other way around. And again, it looks different too, because at the end of the day, you want your courses to look in a particular way. You can, have that set up specifically the way that you want. So if you're looking at the two, you can go through these ones, figure out which one works best for you. They have demos on both of them. We actually have sites that we can show you as demos for both of them. Those are the two sort of popular ones and the two that I recommend. If you want to, and you want to look for some other ones, certainly go to WordPress and take a look for them. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to pick one of these. The LMS is kind of the first thing that you're always going to pick if you want to sell courses online. And selling courses online requires that you take payments if you're going to sell courses online. If you're not going to sell courses online and you want to keep people accountable, it requires that they're going to have to enroll in a course. And if you are looking for people to take your courses, both Lifter and LearnDash allow you to do just that. Is you can actually go and you can be on let me just open this one. You can actually go on and be uh, logged into the site and use that tool to do it. So again, pretty neat way to do that. You can be set up so that you can get people to register. You can get them paid for the course. You can do that with Lifter LMS. The next thing you want to do is if you're going to take payments, you can use Lifter or LMS to take payments, but you also, if you have more than one course and or you want to sell other products or services, you may want to have some additional ways to take payments. So having said the big picture, all you need for WordPress is Lifter or LearnDash. Those are the only things that you technically need to sell courses. And they're pretty inexpensive. I think under $200 for LearnDash is the cost of a license for a single site. And for Lifter, it's a little bit more. And again, different models on how they work. Lifter does, the main part is free and they sell extensions. That's where they make their money. LearnDash, it's like, here's the cost of the plugin and it basically does everything off of the start. So hopefully that helps. That's what you need to sell courses with WordPress. It's just very, very simple. The thing that you have to just keep in the back of your mind, or I suggest that you remember, is that at the end of the day, if you're going to be selling courses, you have to sell courses. And as much as I'd like to say, yeah, I put a course up, take my course, it still requires selling. You still have to be actively involved. You still have to promote. You still have to do things that you would normally do if you're going to sell products and services. Just because you have a course doesn't mean it's going to sell itself. Not only is it not going to sell itself, it has to be a course that someone wants to take, which is a whole other discussion for another time. But from the technical perspective, you're going to have a WordPress site and you're going to have either Lifter or LearnDash, one of those two. The one that I recommend personally and the one that we use is LearnDash. Both of them work. Both of them are good. Again, personal preference is how you go with that. And the only thing I will mention with personal preference, and this is why it's kind of interesting for me, is that when you get into selling a course, most of the people that I've seen who are teaching online, who want to teach online, they never only sell one course. They've always got multiple courses, 10 courses, 5 courses, 15 courses, 30 courses. They've got tons of different courses or mini courses. So they got a bunch of courses. And then the other thing is that ends up that they always sell more than one, courses. They're generating, or they have revenue streams, whether it be from coaching or affiliate products or physical or digital downloads that they sell or handbooks or anything else, their time or services. There's always something else to sell. So in as much you can use LearnDash and Lifter to get started, most of the time I've run into in the long term is you're going to end up having to look to some kind of way to take payments. And again, those are some other options available to you. To keep in the back of your mind is if you think maybe I might have some extra course or I have some ideas for additional courses, kind of think about, okay, what do I need to do to also take payments for my business as opposed to just a single course. So that's kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Keep that as something that you're always thinking about as you're building out your education business. Okay, so what am I going to do next? Let's do this. I've got how long I've been on? 45 minutes. So maybe I got 15 minutes left. I think what I will do is if there's any questions, make sure to ask them. That's fine. Or in the comments below, ask them again. The one thing that I will do is I'm going to show you what I'm working on personally and how I'm keeping track of all of the different questions that we run into or questions that we get asked. So I use a tool called teamwork.com, and it is a, what is it? It is technically it's called a project management software, project management system. And on that one, let me just make sure that I'm in the right place here. I want to go and which one do I want to do? I want to do Chrome, but I don't want to do the 360. Let's get rid of that one. Let's see if I can go back one. We'll do that one, and let's see if I can go back to Chrome. See, here's when I was talking about those issues with using the screen in technology. one other piece that I did use that I did mention is this little thing called Stream Deck. And you probably can't see it. It might be looking reverse to you. But Stream Deck is a little device that allows me to basically have quick keys that go, if I press a key, it does something on the screen. One of them I pressed by accident was the Insta360, which is set up now that it's going to take over the entire page. So I'm going to go back and we'll try and get my Chrome to work on that. And let's see what, there we go. There we go. Back. We're back. Back to the Chrome. I had it, so I pressed that button and it was connected to the camera. So the camera came on when I was pressing the Chrome button. So stop working. It's all fixed now. There we go. So let's go take a look at the tool that I'm using for this. And this is the one right here. So this is Teamwork. This is the project management tool that we use when we're working with clients. We're actually building out campuses for them, building out their membership sites, helping them build courses and market their courses. So the whole start, build, and grow part. I'm teaching you that on Teach Online. That's part of the campus that's there if you're interested in that. But if you don't have time, you don't want to learn about it, you're not interested, then we use our other service at trainingsites.io. That service basically does the starting, building, and growing for you, lets you to put the course material together. We do the rest for you. So learn yourself or have us do it. Either one is fine. We use a tool called Teamwork that is how we keep track of those projects. So one of the things that I've got here is one of the projects we have is, you can see up at the top there, says Teach Online Course Ideas. I'm moving my mouse in the upper left-hand corner there. So Teach Online Course Ideas. Right now, I've got questions and topics for courses. You can see there's 122 of them. That's right, 122 different ideas. So let's take a look at some of them. And I'll show you some of the ones that we're working on, or ones that we've been thinking about, or ones that we've been asked to do. So if you have any in the future, don't be afraid to ask and specific questions, and we'll do that. So for example, one of the ones that, for example, where's the one that I saw that was kind of interesting? There was one that's a little bit earlier there. Yeah, so course delivery options. What are the different ways that I can deliver a course or have a course delivered? What are the different ways that that can happen? So why don't I actually show you on that one? I'll do this one live so you can see it. So I'm going to go and on this one, let's go and I'm on a site here, and I'll open up one of the courses just to show you how this would work as an example, and you can see how that works. Okay, so here's a particular course. I'll do a draft one here. How to set up BuddyBoss for group coaching. It's a draft course right now. I'm going to we'll go and edit this course. And I'll show you some of the different ways that a course can be set up for delivery. So in LearnDash, this is a LearnDash tool that I'm using. So in LearnDash on this one, you'll see that on the left-hand side, the course page has at the top, it has the title. It also has a description of the course. And it has a short description that is empty here. Again, remember, this one is a draft. It has a preview video so that if you want to show a preview, you can do that. And in the grid, you can have a separate description. And this is, the course grid is when you have a listing of multiple courses and you want to show 3 across or 4 across, and you want to have a little description with the title. That one is there. So I've got just an example here. This is the basic description of the course. The part that we want to look at is the settings for the course. And this one's kind of interesting because the question was, how can I set up, or how do I decide the different ways that I want to be able to deliver the content, right? It's like, the question was, let me scroll up here. On this one, it was, where was it? Where is it? Where was that one? Titles, just looking for the ones that we had there. Course delivery options. So these are the ones that we're looking at, the delivery options here. It's in settings and course access settings. So a couple different ways you can do it right off the bat is you can have it open, which doesn't require anyone to register for it. Remember I said if you're going to keep people accountable, you're going to have some way for them to say, hey, I'm taking the course or enroll. If you don't want to keep someone accountable, you just want to have a structured delivery of content in terms of a lesson order or in smaller chunks as opposed to one long video, you can have an open course. And in this case, you can just look at it. People can look at it and do whatever they want with it to consume the content. But you also have free, buy now, recurring, and closed. And these ones, the free one requires that someone is a logged in user and able to access it. The buy now and recurring are the ones that I mentioned at the start. Was if someone just has the LearnDash plugin on their WordPress site, LearnDash has the ability, and same with Lifter, they have the ability to take a payment, and the payment is either one purchase, they get access to the course for lifetime, or it could be recurring, where you say, look, it's going to be X number of dollars a month, but after you stop paying, you don't have access to the course anymore. So buy now, recurring with both Lifter and with LearnDash are payment systems that are built in directly into those plugins. The closed one means that you're going to use a third-party plugin on WordPress or an external service that manages who gets access to your site. And these are the ones that I was talking about, for example, is if you want to use a shopping cart like WooCommerce, where you want people to make payments in WooCommerce on your website, on your WordPress site, and have WooCommerce control when someone gets access to the course based on whether or not they paid in WooCommerce. Or MemberPress was the other one I mentioned. It's a membership plugin that also allows to take payments and or subscriptions. And it's a third-party one. You would have your course marked as closed. And MemberPress would say, if they pay this membership or they pay this amount through me, they can have access to the course. So that would be closed. Those are the access modes. But the delivery modes are, how am I going to make it deliverable? And there's two that are here that are important. The first one is linear, and the second one is freeform. And what linear means is just that. If you have 7 lessons and someone enrolls in the course and they purchase and they go, I already know number 2 and number 3 lesson, I'm not interested. I don't want to bother. If you have it set up as linear, they can't go to lesson 6 and lesson 7, even though they want to, because they haven't completed lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, and lesson 5. So as the instructor, you have some control on the delivery of it by saying, look, I want to make sure you understand everything. I know even if you're familiar with it, I want you to go through the content that I've included in this lesson, and I want you to mark it as complete. I want you to say, yes, I've absolutely completed this. I may have a quiz I've added to it. Maybe I don't have a quiz. I may also be able to say, hey, look, you've got to spend 7 minutes on this lesson before you can mark it as complete. You can also say, look, you have to watch a video to the end before you can mark it complete. But if you're in a linear format, you're the instructor that's saying, hey, I'm really, really, really serious about this, and I want you to learn it. You got to make sure you take all of it and do as I say and say as I do and know what I know and all of the content that I have. I want you to make sure you understand it completely and you've consumed it all and you've done the tasks that I've asked you to do. That's linear. Freeform, on the other hand, is just the opposite of that. they can take it in whatever order that they want. They can go lesson 7, lesson 3, lesson 4, lesson 1. As long as they complete all of them, they can say they've completed the course, but it doesn't matter whether or not they do them in the order you suggest or not. So as the instructor, you got to decide, how am I going to have this delivered? How do I want people to be able to consume my content? Or how is it appropriate for them to consume it? And this really depends on what you're teaching, right? So if you're teaching something that requires a sequence of events, and that's the way it has to be done, it's a set process, you may want to put it a linear, right? You may want to say, look, if you're going to be able to do this, you have to do these 7 things or these 3 things. And if that's the case, you want to say, look, I don't want you doing number 3 if you haven't done number 2 and number 1. So linear is if you need to control that. Freeform is maybe when you're not necessarily having people consume or learn a process that requires a set sequence of steps in the order that you want to teach it. So those are the 2 kind of delivery methods that are important to look at right there. Again, what I'll do in another one is I'll take terms of delivery. There is some neat things you can do with videos, and I touched on them briefly, be for another time, is that you can actually have it set up that you can have a video for each lesson, but they can't mark the lesson complete unless they've watched the entire video. So it's not a question of just, with COVID, for example, people had actual devices that would press the keyboard every minute and a half so that people at the real office would think that they were working at it. Some of them are, I watched it. So they put the video on, and then they go take a coffee break, and they come back when it's finished to say that it's there. You can actually have it set up so that the video has to be watched in its entirety before the actual lesson can be completed. So you can just watch the first 30 seconds and go, move it right to the end. You actually have to watch the entire piece. So that'll be time for another session. In terms of delivery, though, what I want you to know about the different pricing ones, and also whether it's going to be linear or freeform, those are the big delivery methods. So hopefully that helps when it comes to delivering your content. So okay, what do we got here? I think you got 159. I think that's all I'm going to do today on this one. I will continue, obviously, to do these on a regular basis on Wednesday. If you're watching this after the fact, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also put any comments or questions in below. And of course, go to teachonline.io and register for our free course on how to build your own learning campus so you can teach online. We've got a great 8-part course that's there. It's free to join. We go through all of the steps that I've just been talking about, and it gives you the real opportunity to find out, what does it really mean to have an education business? Not only what does it mean to create a course, but what am I going to do as an education business? I'm going to start, build, and grow a business like that. I'm going to put myself in a position where I can share all my expertise, all my knowledges, all my experiences with someone else about something that I'm passionate about. So thanks again for joining me. This is James Maduke speaking from teachonline.io and trainingsites.io, where we show you how to start, build, and grow your own education business. So take care, expect the best. We'll be back again next week. No file. Let's try this again. Let's finish up and see what happens. Take care. Expect the best.